There is an ongoing investigation at the moment into a complaint that someone was possibly subjected to family coercion. We checked, that complaint hasn't been fully processed yet by the authorities. But if that complaint is upheld, what responsibility do you think the state bears in facilitating the death of someone who might have been pressured into it?
Look, I think we need to obviously understand what the exact complaint was. But look, I think I'd come back to the point, the fact that we actually have this really rigorous regime and all of these safety measures in place means we know something about that, and the fact that people can actually bring forward their concerns and they're looked into. Look, I think this is a very sensitive area because, we are actually allowing the state to assist someone with a terminal illness who is going to die to have an assisted death. So I think there's a lot of responsibility here.
By the nature of assisted dying, though, would you accept that there is no way for us to fully, wholly know if people who have died by an assisted death might have been feeling a sense of coercion or pressure at the time?
Look, we can never know completely, but again, I'll go back, Jack. This is a very rigorous process. There's a first assessment, an independent assessment, and then a further discussion. So, I think all of the steps are in place, and I think what the data you actually have talked about shows that, there isn't big issues in this area.
Why do you think so few patients are being referred to a psychiatrist?
Again, that's on the advice of those medical professionals making that assessment. They decide whether another, a psychiatrist is needed. Obviously, in most cases, that's not required. But again, we do see people being referred, and again, that's part of the safety mechanisms in this legislation.
Right, number 2. There you go, Chewy. I wasn't going to show that one, but we have got enough time. I know we've got to be out of here by 10:30 because that's the rules. But one more clip to play. Do you want to add anything in? So the coercion thing is the thing that most people are concerned about. Pushing old Nana or granddad or dad or whoever it is, a bit faster than maybe they want to do it. Because there's always this thing as well of the sort of implicit or explicit coercion as well. If unhealthy person X or, terminal person X feels like they're kind of getting the hint that the family's ready for them to go, if they feel like they're being a burden. So there's all those things as well, which is often part of the concern around this sort of thing.
That's a common thing from the very elderly, is that they don't want to be a bother and they don't want to be a burden, and that becomes a feedback loop in their own head, and they think that that's the only option. That might not be the view that's shared by their family at all. So, I mean, I think that's when they're talking about, hey, look, there needs to be a psychiatric assessment, they need to be of a sound mind. It's all of these things that are quite important. But yeah, it's such a tricky subject. Yeah, I'm still conflicted. When this law first started going through the select committee and that sort of thing, I was very pro it. I was like, yep, that makes sense, because I was looking at it from my own point of view.
Yeah.
Like I said, like if I had something like motor neuron disease or something that got locked in my own body and my brain was still good, that sounds like hell to me. So I would want out. And then this is why it's so important to read other people's opinion. Then I read thoughts from people in the disabled community.
Yeah, which is why I put that chat up from Sun saying the same thing.
Yeah. And they had a very different opinion from me. And I read that and I was like, oh shit, this is something that I have not considered.
Yeah.
What happens if society decides that you're too much bother? Can this be weaponized against me in some way?
Part of this conversation, which we're not playing, is Jack says to the minister, I mean, maybe, is he a minister? Anyway, the MP, is this government doing enough to support palliative care? One of the arguments has always been there should be nobody in any kind of palliative care that needs to be in pain. We have enough control over, pain-killing type drugs that there shouldn't have to be anyone being in pain at any stage. And, oh, hello, I'm going to come back. Might come back, might not. Oh, there you go. Hi.
There you go.
So that's something that is a part of this conversation as well, because if you knew your palliative care was going to be, you were going to be comfortable and you had time and versus if your palliative care, you're going to be in pain constantly for, there's a difference to how you make that decision, I suspect.